Welcome to New Leader Live on Barrel Horse World. We are a weekly live webinar powered by Stall High and produced by Pixelworks of Texas. Get ready, y'all. This week is going to blow the spurs off your boots. We're going to talk more about the biomechanics of barrel racing and how it connects to brain science, the mind to muscle connection. Newsflash, spoiler alert, it's not your horse, it's your hips. This week, you're going to meet our coaching team at Stall High. Myself, Kendra Dixon. We've got Kelly Crowley from Oregon, who helps problem solve the barrel pattern. Our lead coach of technology, Sherry McKenzie, right here in North Texas. And you're going to meet our muscle activation coach this week. Her name is Bailey Ryan Thompson. She's also a WPRA barrel racer. Before we get started, I want to give a very big shout out to Cowtown Coliseum right here in the historic Fort Worth Stockyards. If you've never gotten to run in this Coliseum, you need to plan a road trip. Come run in this pen. It is amazing. The atmosphere is electric and you will never forget it. All right, coaching staff, are y'all ready to dive in? This week is different. We're going to be looking at some pictures of a WPRA barrel racer's saddle. She's riding in a custom bullseye saddle, which is very telling. The bullseye tells the truth. We're going to study where her wear marks and patterns are revealing what's happening in her posture based on the position in her saddle. So get ready to meet Carol Ruggieri. Kelly, Sherry, Bailey, y'all ready to roll?
Ready.
Ready. Let's do it. So I'm going to start sharing pictures. First of all, our rider today is Carol Ruggieri, Colorado cowgirl. She has already graduated the masterclass program at Stall High. We saw a tremendous jump in talent and in her times that she was clocking as she came into the Stall High program. Carol, talk to us. Where was this mare clocking when you came to Stall High?
I was about a half a second out from the big rodeos. And then I went through finished the master class, and I started placing higher up at the rodeos.
And where are you today?
Today, she got a few months off because of the winter, but we're still up there. The last video I sent was at the Colorado State MBHA finals, and I was actually the only one in the 1D. Won the whole 1D by myself out of 75 barrel racers.
That's fantastic.
So she has improved a bunch.
Yes, and so for those people watching, maybe on Barrel Horse World, and they don't yet know about Stall High, the online coaching program, Masterclass, or Bullseye Saddles, what do you feel made the biggest difference in making that half-second jump for you from the 2D to winning pro money?
Well, probably my positioning and how you actually approach the barrels. It's probably helped me out the most, and how she's calmed down going in and get her to pay more attention to what she is supposed to be doing instead of just going out there and running. Mm-hmm. The Bullseye saddle, I love it, actually. It keeps you pretty good in position of where I think you should be, helps you sit up and go. But the master class itself, it kind of teaches you a lot of different things of what you're doing wrong that you don't realize you're doing wrong. I've been doing this for a lot of years. And so it's just was a root of awakening.
Mm-hmm. So Carol,
on some of the things that I was doing incorrectly.
We don't know until we know. And there's a lot of things, there's been a lot of hidden truth. There's been a lot of false beliefs in our sport that have just been handed down for decades, generation to generation. And once your eyes start to open up and you can see posture, timing, barrel racing, the entire sport of barrel racing through fresh eyes. You can't unsee it. It becomes obvious. And Carol, there may be a lot of people watching either right now live or potentially watching a replay. And they may be thinking, I would love to run in the 2D. I would love to run in the 1D. I would love to be the only horse in the 1D and would love to win pro money. So it's not that you're not happy with where you are. We're celebrating your progress. It's amazing. Most barrel racers don't make it to the level you're at right now. We're going to be very hypercritical today. We're going to really put you under the microscope, and we're going to look at your bullseye saddle, your positioning, and how we can help you clock even faster, more sustainably. So putting less wear and tear on your horse's body and her brain mentally. So let's go ahead and get into it. I want to start by looking at some pictures. Everybody say hello to Bailey Ryan Thompson. Bailey, you're new to Stall High, graduate of the University of Texas, WPRA barrel racer. We're excited for all you're doing as well. For those of you who don't know Bailey, she's up and coming. She is very close. I believe you're within $100 of filling your card, and you're going to have a really strong shot at making the finals, Bailey. So we're really excited that you're with Team Stall High now. Tell us briefly what makes you so excited, Bailey, to take your education and your experience and bring them together at Stall High?
Oh my goodness, it is just the most amazing opportunity. Hello, everybody. So as Kendra said, I went to the University of Texas and got my degree in kinesiology with a concentration in motor behavior and biomechanics. And I have barrel raced and ridden horses since I could sit up, pretty much. So putting my passion and my education together has just been such an amazing experience, and I'm so excited to share it with others because that's the main point of all of this, right? Is to help others. So I'm very excited, Carol, to go over your patterns today and your posture today, and very excited for everyone to get to experience this.
It's been so cool to see you come into the team and watch like your brain work and to see through your eyes, because now that you can see how everything ties together, it's undeniable.
It is. And that's the correct word for it. It is undeniable. And the proof is in the pudding. And you can see it all right here. And we're about to go over all of it. And I think y'all are going to be as in awe as we were when we were going over this last week. So I'm very excited.
Yes. So, Carol, get ready. When you reached out to me several weeks ago about a second bullseye saddle, and I asked you to send these pictures in, we really didn't know what we were in for. When we shared your pictures with Bailey, she got so excited and she's like, I see it, I see it, I see it. We can help her so much. So again, it's not taking anything away from what you've already accomplished. It's helping you go to that next level. So if we could, let's share the pictures. We're going to start with looking at some saddle marks. We're going to go back and forth. Okay, so pay very close attention. Bailey, first thing you see when you look at her seat in the bullseye saddle.
Yes, first thing that I saw when I initially got these pictures, I said, wow, there is a lot more wear and a lot more darkness on that left side, as you can see in that photo there. So what does that tell me? More wear means more pressure over time. So as you can see on that left side versus that right side, you see a lot more wear. So that means more pressure. So what that tells me with my background is the left side is experiencing more consistent pressure and friction. And this indicates that Carol is probably loading or collapsing more on that left side or that left seat bone. It doesn't mean that you're intentionally sitting heavier, but it means that the left side is acting as the primary shock absorber. So that's what I saw initially. And the next thing that I noticed on these wear patterns was that that left side is shifted more forward than the right side. So you can see that left wear pattern is a little bit closer there. And what that tells me is that the pelvis is subtly rotated. So it's not a big rotation, but as you can see over time, that wear pattern shows it. And this often happens when a rider is stabilizing or advancing on one side of the pelvis. So as we can see in this, based on the wear patterns, it is that left side. So the forward wear also indicates bracing or repeated movement in that zone, not just static weight. So this is extremely common, especially for right-hand dominant riders, which I feel like a lot of us are, including myself. And this shows me that there's a left side stability compensation. So Carol is probably subconsciously using the left side for stability, bracing through the left hip or the left thigh, and gripping more with that left leg. And we can see more of this when we look at the right versus left fender wear as well. So that's what I saw initially looking at this.
Okay. Let's look at the sides of the saddle, please. And look at a side shot. Does this blow y'all's mind? Everybody, if you're in Zoom right now, comment, "It's not my fault." We're going to do a chat at the end of this session today. If you're in the chat, type it. "It's not my fault." This is going to like back the dually off of your chest. It's not your fault. It's not your horse's fault either, guys. There are things, there are answers and solutions that we've never considered, we've never been able to locate before until now. All right, what do you see happening? You mentioned the word friction, not just static weight.
Yes, friction. So this is the left fender here. So this is the side that we saw had a little bit more wear and was shifted forward. And that shift continues forward on the fender through the leg. So we still see that angling forward. And this is a habitual positioning issue. It's a habit, and that's okay because there's really good news. We can rewire that. So the left femur, based on this photo, is living in more of a flexed position. And although we're looking at the leg positioning and what does that mean, it's commonly a compensation pattern for something that is higher up in the body. So in the pelvis or the trunk. And this is where your mind is probably going to get blown because we're going to take a look at some posture pictures of Miss Carol and everything is going to come together, y'all. So yeah. A forward leg becomes that control and balance strategy for the body. And it's, like I said, it's a habit. The nervous system is seeking stability and the right side is being held stiff versus being mobile. And Carol's body is just doing what it can to feel safe in the moment. And like I said, that's good news because we can rewire it.
Yes. So Carol, tell us about this mare's barrel pattern. What do her first barrels to the right feel like to you?
Can you repeat that, Kendra?
Yes. I can hear you.
Can you repeat the question?
So talk to me. Tell us about that right-hand turn coming into the first barrel. Has that been the most difficult barrel to get consistent on over time?
Yes, and I could also say she's a turner. So I try to get her by it sometimes and sometimes, and she'll listen to me, but getting her in the perfect position, going to that first barrel has been one of my biggest issues.
Okay, let's look at the right side of your saddle. Bailey, why is this happening based on what you see in her positioning?
So what I can get from this is that, trying to push her past it, you're probably shifting your weight onto that left side. And so as we can see on this right side, we do not see near as much wear as we do compared to that left side. I wish we could put the photos up next to each other just so you could see the difference of the wear. But yeah, so as you can see, I mean, it is just a world of difference, the right fender versus the left fender. And like I said, amazing work, by the way. That mirror is amazing. I watched some videos and I'm just blown away by her and you. But yes, you're using that left side as a shock absorber going into that first barrel. And like I said, that's very normal for a lot of right-hand dominant riders. And I'm just very excited to help you fix that little compensation pattern that you have.
100%. All right, let's get to the pictures of Carol standing.
Yes.
And now we're going to put Carol under the microscope. We looked at her saddle. Now let's start to understand how her posture is causing her to ride in that habitual position. When I first started learning about errors in my posture, Carol, I had no idea. I too have ridden left side heavy, completely oblivious. In all my years of rodeoing, I wondered why my first barrel to the right was the least consistent. And if I ever hit a barrel, it was to the left. So Bailey, go ahead and start telling us, connect the dots for us between her posture and her position in the saddle.
Yes, so this first picture, I wanted to really highlight the shoulders here. So as you can see on that left side, her left side, it is a little bit shorter. It's very subtle, but it's a shorter distance from the tip of that shoulder to the ear versus that right side. You can see it's a little bit longer. So what that means is that shoulder is elevated. With the elevation in the shoulder, the left side of your body is shortened and over recruited. So what does that mean? The rib cage is most likely not stacked over the pelvis. And that is so important and something that we've been learning a lot in muscle activation class, how important it is to have that rib cage stacked over your pelvis. And shoulder elevation often reflects trunk asymmetry. So not just shoulder mechanics, but your entire trunk all the way down to that pelvis. So yeah, that elevated shoulder we'll see in a couple more pictures, and it'll relate to that pelvis and what's going on there.
We're going to look at the next picture. Tell us what you see, Bailey.
Yes, so this is where I was just in awe because everything comes together. So everything is connected, and there are a few things that I want to highlight in this photo. So as you can see here again, that left shoulder is elevated. What does that mean for your hips and your pelvis? Your hips on that left side and your pelvis on that left side is also elevated because that entire left side of the body is over recruited and shortened. So what does that mean for the right side of the body? Obviously, the right shoulder is dropped. And as you can see, I circled there, that right scapula is more engaged. So you are stabilizing through the right shoulder girdle, which we'll get more into here in just a little bit. But that pelvis is held in a left elevated position. And this creates a cross body pattern, right? Right upper stabilization and left lower elevation. So everything connects here, y'all. It's actually mind blowing. And another thing that I'm gonna probably highlight in a little bit, but I circled the right glute here. You can see that it's a little bit less engaged, which is also very important for our seat bones during our run. So yes, we want to make sure that we are working that glute. But yes, I'm going to dive into that here in just a little bit.
You can see that, guys, if you're having a difficult time understanding what she's saying, when she says the right glute, her right hip, okay, look at the right pocket. Can y'all see more wrinkles in her jeans on that side of her body? it's not as activated. The right glute, her right hindquarter, her right hip is not as active, alert, awake. And it's not just about strengthening the muscle, it is about strengthening the signal to the muscle. So there is a disconnect somewhere in Carol's central nervous system in the communication that is causing some muscles, like her right shoulder, to overwork and others to under fire, to not fire quick enough or not be there for her most balanced, most stable ride. Carol, looking at these pictures and listening to Bailey talk, did you have any idea this was going on?
Oh, heck no. I just typed wow. It's like, holy crap.
So what are your initial thoughts?
I know I've always had back issues, so that was a root of awakening right there. Yes. Crazy.
And a lot of people may, again, jump ahead, get ahead of the gun or ahead of the horse and think, oh, well, I better go have my hips checked. I'm due for chiropractic adjustment. You've probably been doing that. Have you not?
Oh yeah. I go once a month for sure to the chiropractor because my hips do twist yes.
Yes. So there's nothing wrong with going to the chiropractor. Don't hear what we're not saying, guys. Okay. If you have questions, remember we have a live chat going on Barrel Horse World. Start typing those questions in the chat so we can get to them at the end of this session today. But what I want people to understand, if you are not getting the result that you ultimately want, if you know your horse has more potential, you know you have more talent, but something mysterious is keeping you from clocking where you know you need to be, you need to be right here at Stall High. This is why we have coaches. This is why we develop this program, because you can go to the chiropractor every month like Carol and still have these motor patterns, posture patterns that you're completely unaware of, but I guarantee you your horse knows every single one of them because your horse is having to modify how they move underneath you, and it is costing you time on the clock. So Carol, what are some immediate connections as you listen to Bailey and you now look at that saddle differently? Is this filling in some blanks for you? Is it starting to make more sense based on behaviors or patterns that you've seen in how she runs?
I think so by watching or listening to her say that, going to my right barrel. I do believe I don't have too many issues going to second or third. So, or worried about hitting, the first barrel is the one that if I, either check her too soon or lean too soon, or, that's what I was always thinking could be, but it could be the pressure I have in my saddle now.
Now you know. All right, let's watch some videos.
That is interesting.
I want to share a run, and this is you'll have to tell me the date of this video right here. So, good run, big arena, big outdoor pen. When did you make this run, Carol?
I made that run was from June of last year.
Okay. June of last year. So were you in master class at that time?
I was.
Okay. And how was
I think
this
it just
run?
Started actually.
Was this a pretty normal run for you going past this first barrel?
No, she usually doesn't go past.
Okay. Did she typically get tight in the neck at the first barrel like she did here?
Yes.
Yes. And we see this mare get pretty tight at the third barrel as well. And she's young. I see her kind of fighting your hands right there at the end. We're going to talk about that. Let's go to our next video. And this is where we're really going to start to put the puzzle pieces together. Okay. So this is when we're going underneath the microscope. Everybody give Carol a hand today for being in the hot seat. The hot seat of the bullseye saddle. First thing I notice is this mare has anxiety leaving. So her head is elevated and her mouth is open. I'm going to hand it to Kelly Crowley, all the way from Oregon. She's one of our coaches here at Stall High. Kelly, what do you see happening as she leaves?
Yeah. So, she, like you said, the mare is elevating. She's gapping at the mouth. So basically, she's trying to get away from the pressure she's feeling. But what she's doing that's even worse, and Carol, don't be offended. I love you. You're great. But, what that mare,
I'm
what's even worse
not
is that she's
offended. Don't
actually
worry.
she is actually flipping into fight flight mode. So right there, she's not flighty, she's fighting you. So she is fighting, she is competing with you and your boundaries. So, but just like that, her mind has left the building and she'll get it back, but it's those moments of the in and out, in and out. So she's trying to get up above that pressure, that bit, and she has gotten into fight mode. And now it's a struggle to keep her mind, to keep her calm all throughout your run and get that back. So, what we want to do is teach her how to regulate her own nervous system as well with yours, but how to work together as a team to trust your body and trust her body and not get to those fight flight moments so that you have that dial, as Kendra calls it, you dial up that intensity and then you can just dial it right back down. And she's going to, doing that more and more, she's going to quit trying to get away from this. You're going to not have to feel like you're holding her and fighting her. So basically she's gotten into fight mode and so have you. So it's a tug of war there at the beginning.
Oh, it's a fist fight.
Yeah.
It's a fist fight. So y'all are both battling each other, and we're going to let this review keep rolling for a minute. You're going to start to see some red circles and red lines on top of the screen, and we're going to really break this run down to the biomechanics piece by piece. So y'all watch as she comes into this first barrel, the mare's neck is getting really tight and tense, and she is coming in holding her head in a more elevated position. All right, Sherry McKenzie, lead of technology. You really have a keen eye on the horse's stride, and you have the data to prove it. So what do you see happening in Carol's body and this horse's head right here? She also seems to take a little stutter step right there as she leaves the alley.
Yeah, I definitely see, as you said, or you and Kelly both said, the fight that's going on, and I see that showing up in the hands and then in your upper body, the tension that is there, and it carries all the way into that first barrel. Like you're literally fighting to get your balance back, and because of that, the tension is going throughout her and throughout you, and that's when we see the hollowing of the back, and that's when you're disengaging or you're taking away the power that's supposed to be coming from the back end. Because when you've got a hollow back like that, you've lost the majority of your power.
Yeah. So imagine where she could clock, Carol.
Yeah.
Fighting that when she launches flat-footed, level-headed from her hindquarters instead of launching from a hollow back. There's so much more on the table for you and this mare. So much more, Carol. Y'all are going to want to watch this team. So right here, I noticed, Carol, your hands are getting back towards your torso, and you're getting in what we call the red zone. You've taken our online classes before, so I know you're familiar with that term. For those who are not, imagine if we could paint your horse's neck red from the middle way of their neck back to the saddle horn, and then from the middle part of their neck, halfway up their neck to their ears, imagine it being painted green. You want to stay in the green. Here I see your left hand as you're coming to the left-hand barrel cross midline and go to the opposite side of your horse. So your left hand ends up on the right side of your horse. And I know it's been done that way for a long time, and sometimes I get in a jam and I find myself doing it as well. But that, for us, is a big indicator that there is a breakdown of biomechanics. You can feel the run unraveling, and it's kind of a last-ditch Hail Mary move. And again, it seems to work for a lot of horses, but can they run even better? Yes, they can. And here's why. So you see that hollow back when the neck is up? That's what we learned from our celebrity coach, Chris Irwin. That's what he calls the trough. So this mare, if you don't mind, back it up just a minute into this second barrel. You're going to see where that line is drawn as kind of a hump. and then it inverts as a scoop. And Carol, I would imagine your second barrel felt pretty rough, did it not?
I can't remember back that far.
Okay.
That was in October, actually, this run.
A lot of riders, that's a great place to pause it right there. A
But-
lot of riders think their horse is choppy, that their horse has a short
Yes,
stride.
and thinking about that, I thought I was surprised I clocked so well
Because it was
because
rough.
it did feel second and third, actually.
It
And
was bumpy.
I did. I walked out thinking, wow, I clocked that, and it felt like I rode like, not very good.
That's the washboard effect. That's why a lot of horses catch the blame. A lot of riders call good horses saying, that horse is so choppy, he hurts my back. It's not the horse, y'all. There's so much more to it. So please don't sell your horse. So we saw the back kind of hump up, and then the next instant it hollows out. And that's when you get caught in that turbulence and you're getting beat to heck. It's very difficult to keep your seat, even in the bullseye, when you're going through that level of turbulence. And again, I'm going to hand it back to Kelly. This mare is flickering in and out of fight flight.
Yes. Yes. So, and again, like I said, any of those moments where they flicker in and out is a distraction, which is a tenth, just tense, just ticking away. But the thing is too, is that when they do hollow that back, like Sherry kind of mentioned it, they're not able to engage their hind end. So this horse is compensating for its own struggle right here, its own poor posture. So she's hollowed her, she's still in fight mode. So she's basically fighting you this whole run. It starts at the beginning and then she's just fighting her whole run. Her whole goal is trying to get away from the pressure she's feeling. And she's just gotten stuck in that fight mode for the majority of this. But when she elevates her head and hollows that back, she has now forfeit her whole hind end, which is where all her horsepower is at, which is where all her balance is at. And I think it's really interesting to see in this moment your posture in the saddle. You've come around a turn, yes, but your posture is even more exaggerated, but the exact same as what Bailey was pointing out. Like, look at your right shoulder, look at your left shoulder, look at your left hip. Like, all of that is happening right here. So you're compensating for trying to get your balance back because of what's going on in your body, and your horse is doing the same thing, and you're just fighting each other and it's going to feel rough. So she can't get her hind end, you're not able to get your hind end, and it's just like you said, you're surprised you clocked well, which just is a testament to her and your natural ability. But let's just correct all this and get you both more balanced, and you're just gonna fly like butter on a skillet.
like a stick of butter and hot.
Yeah.
I love it. Bailey, I want to hand it to you. So take us back to when we studied her posture and we studied the position, based on where those wear marks or the sweat patterns in the saddle. What's happening right here?
Yeah, so Carol is using what I like to call cross-body stabilization. So this is a strategy rather than evenly stacking and absorbing force. It's just across the whole body. Like we talked about with that right scapula and that left hip lowered and that right scapula more engaged. We're seeing that right here in the run. What we saw in the saddle and in the posture photos, we can see right here is also happening in the run. So I mean, again, this run was awesome, and it's amazing that she's clocking, and y'all are clocking this fast, and I'm excited to make these changes with you, Miss Carol. But yeah, that pelvis is just not centered, and that's just something that is an overcompensation pattern. And like I said earlier, that's okay, because guess what? We can rewire that and we can fix that.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Now you see new lines coming on the screen. I'm going to hand it to our lead of technology who monitors our stride data. Sherry, what does it mean to ride the spine, and why is that the pot of gold? Can you pause that for me?
Yeah, that's really where all the communication happens. So if we are off balance like that, the disconnect comes in, and it's basically like if you're used to using a GPS and all of a sudden you lose your connection and you're driving around and you don't know what your next turn is, and that's what the horse is looking for, is they're looking for that communication to drive, where are they supposed to go if they feel like you've disappeared for a moment, and so they're kind of at a loss and looking for communication on what to do next. So, and as Kelly said, those are tenths of a seconds and tenths of a seconds. And this started when you called out her crossing over the midline with her hand. That front shoulder was already down, and because she's already leaning in and riding heavy on that left side. And so then when the power of the turn, it just threw her down in there even more. So, and as we've learned with Bailey, is strengthening those balancing muscles are so key that it'll help you hold that, and it'll allow her, because you can see how slanted that horse is, and so when she's having to pull herself out with that front end because she's lost that back end. So, and as Kendra was saying, that had to be a little bit of a rough ride coming through there, because you can just see her dropping down in there. And look how heavy you are on to the left there, and you're just forcing her down even more.
Mm-hmm. So y'all see that? So again, great run. But can y'all see how much she's leaving in the arena? How much more potential this mare has? How much more potential Carol has? Because right now the cards are stacked against y'all and you're making it work. So when we literally can stack these cards to your advantage, in your favor, and learning how to stack the ribs over the pelvis, that's what we work on every week at Stall High, not just in this weekly webinar. So we have muscle activation classes going every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. For those of you who are interested, you see that number on the screen. It's going to be here in just a minute. Text the number so that we can help you get better with your horse, run that half second or full second faster. Everyone text that number right now if you want to know how we can help you. Text, I want help. And I'm going to ask you, put an exclamation point behind it with the level of how much help you think you need. How urgent is it? Let's go back to that run, please. Carol, do you feel like this is helping you? Is it bringing clarity and new answers?
Oh, of course it is. Of course. I would have never guessed that. Never. That I was that far off.
Does this take pressure off?
And now, you look at that and it's like explained of why it was so rough around those barrels. Before, I thought, okay, well, what am I doing? What is she doing? Is she sore? That's my first thought. Is she sore? And sometimes she is, but I get that taken care of too.
But now we understand why.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with taking your horse to the equine chiropractor or, putting a beamer on them, back on track, whatever it is you have. But if you are riding in such a way, whether you know it or not, again, it could be subconscious. You could be unaware of it. If your position is what's making them sore, well, let's fix your position. And how much less sore and how much better will they feel? I'm very confident, Carol, that this mare is about to be even more willing. She's going to get stronger. She's going to get more fluid, so smoother in these turns, and she's going to pack a brand new punch. So my next move and recommendation for you is to get you into our muscle activation classes so we can start reprogramming that mind to muscle connection and start working on those cross lateral signals. And that's a class that Bailey teaches Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I also recommend booking some private sessions with Coach Bailey so that she can help you individually. And for everyone else watching, text the hotline. You can apply for our masterclass program. It is a 6-month intensive course where you get personal coaching 5 days a week. It is only for 5 riders. You must apply. It's not for every rider. We get it. You got to really want to change. You got to be coachable. And if you are, let's talk, because we can help you get a half second to a full second faster without spending a pot of money, without doing any drills, and without relying on drugs. It is consistent. It is way easier than you've ever imagined possible, and it is sustainable. So you want your horse to last longer? That's the biggest investment you've got, right? Text that number and let's talk about masterclass. Let's go back to that video and finish it up. So right here, we see this mare's shoulder dropping again. Carol, we focused so much when you took the masterclass program. We were all just in awe and shock learning about the inside hind leg. Push pause for me. Go back to those 4 circles, please. I think we were just so stunned to learn how important the inside hind leg is and how to get it to the midline, how to bring that hind inside leg forward and underneath the horse's belly so that they could support their body at speed and also support us while we're sitting on top. Most barrel racers, okay, even clinicians, even some of the best riders in the world don't know this yet, and I didn't either. We're not trying to throw shade or blame on anyone, but we are calling everyone up saying, regardless of how much experience you have or how much you've already won, you're still capable of more. Do you agree, guys? Do you know you're capable of more? Well, in order to get it, we got to do something different, and that is seen through a new lens. So we see this mare already dropping on her left-hand side, on her front shoulder. She's getting tight in the neck. She's starting to resist Carol's hands. So not only is it important for the mare to get her inside hind forward, what we're learning now, Carol, that's even more important is to pay attention to the outside front foot. That is the diagonal. That's the stabilizing foot that needs to support her through this turn, not just the inside hind. Sherry McKenzie, I'm going to hand it to you. What do you see happening inside these circles with these 4 legs?
Well, she's had to shorten her stride in order to get her balance back, because when you see her coming out of the second barrel, she shifts Carol, or Carol's trying to shift over. And so right before we start this turn, she's just gone through that rebalancing and trying to get that alignment back. And so now she's prepping for that turn. And so she's just all strung out and really lost a lot of horsepower. And she's fighting because she knows she has this difficult turn to do, and she's not in the correct form.
And so what we see her doing right now, she's actually trying to stabilize with her inside front foot and her outside hind leg. Do y'all see that?
Yep.
So she's wired backwards right now. Carol, does this make sense?
Well, sort of. I'm still kind of trying to soak that in.
Okay.
Of what exactly I see what you're saying, but I need to look at it to figure it out better.
Yes.
So Carol, let me jump in here if I can, Kendra, and explain it in my So when she's coming
explain it in lame terms.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for. So when your mare's coming into this turn, if we don't have to back it up, but pretty sure if we backed it up, you're going to see there's a moment where she does drop that front end. So right here, even though your upper body is back, that's because you are already counterbalancing for the drop that you felt in the front end. And I know exactly what this feels like because I have a very quote unquote front endy, broad chested mare, and it is like the hardest thing to fight that feeling like you're going to go over the dashboard, right? So you do it. Your body says, your brain and your body don't lie. Like your body is compensating because you felt that drop. So when she drops her front end, when she lets her, starts to lead with her nose and her neck. You see how she's reaching right there. Her front foot, her front inside, her inside shoulder we all hear about is already reaching and leaning, and so is her nose. And that outside hind is so far behind her. What's happening though is when she's dropped her front end, she has taken her own ability to reach under herself with her hind end away. So they know, just like we try to protect ourselves, you're not going to step on your own foot, right? So she knows she can't step on her own foot. So what she's going to do, because she's dropped her front end, she's blocked her hind end, she's blocked her hind stride, she has to reach out with her butt. She's going to pivot her hindquarters out, and she can still only go so far because her front end is down like this. I don't know if you can see me, and her hind end is just strung out. And so now she cannot maximize her stride still, but what she's doing is protecting herself. And then because she swung her butt out, she's having to balance even more on that inside front, and she's trying to reach with that outside hind to keep her balance. Does that kind of help make sense? And then that moment,
it does.
In that moment, your body is also saying, "Oh crap, I got to get my balance."
Yeah, exactly.
So
Let's just get by the barrel.
Body back. Yeah, your upper body's back. You're gripping with your knees, your toes are down, like everything's just gripping to stay on through this turn. And then you're going to be like, "Okay, we got to just get through the turn." And then you're going to try to get up and out of there, right? So instead of that, what we're learning to do, correct our own posture and help our horses correct their posture. And I love it because we're not riding a bike. Like, you go ride a bike, if our posture is wonky, the bike's just going to tip over or it's not going to react, right? But our horse is going to react. Our horse is going to compensate. And if their posture is not correct, we're going to compensate too. So it's hand in hand. And that's what I love about our whole masterclass program, is that we're learning how to correct our posture and have our balance, and teach our horses, support our horses in being accountable for their own posture and balance as well. And that's just going to make all of this, she's going to come in there and understand how to keep herself more true and balanced, and keep that hind end and not drop that front and start pulling through that turn, which is going to allow you to keep your balance as well.
So good, Kelly. So
very good. Very good.
What we see happening here, and you mentioned she does get sore. This is why, Carol, she has literally physically overextended herself, her body, her joints. She is putting a lot of force. She's got momentum behind her body weight. And that's a lot of force driving down on the front joints, but she's also trying to stabilize with that hind right. So that's a lot of wear and tear. So again, I mean, we've all heard the old saying, don't write a check that your butt can't cash. There will be limited runs on this mare if she continues to overextend herself like this. You're going to be strapped in, locked into a vicious cycle of trying to stay ahead of the pain management rather than prevention and true performance. And we talk about Chris Irwin a lot. He's our celebrity coach at Stall Hind. He said something earlier this week in one of our courses. He said sometimes the horses that are winning, it's not that they are the epitome of perfection. It's just that they are the least dysfunctional. That's a hard truth, and we don't mean to offend anybody, but I bet it will. People who really pay attention, if you rewind and chew on that for a minute, it's kind of offensive until you understand he's here to help. We're here to help. You're capable of more. We're not going to do it by riding harder. We're going to do it by riding smarter. What's been missing all along is education, knowledge, comprehension, understanding. That's why we have fallen into these compensation patterns and didn't even know it. So imagine, Carol, how much better she's going to run and how much healthier she's going to stay when we can get you to the point where she's coming in stabilized the way she should be for this turn and the way your body needs to be for this turn. Let's play the rest of this video. I'm going to hand it to Bailey to finish it up on muscle activation. What does that mean? Why is it important for everyone listening to join your class on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, Bailey?
Yeah, so muscle activation is all about teaching the nervous system to recruit a muscle on purpose at the right time with the right amount of effort. That's what it's all about. So that's what I teach in muscle activation class. It's not about strength or flexibility. It's about the communication to those muscles. And the way I like to think about it is, if strength is the engine, activation is the ignition. So we got to get that muscle activation going, y'all. A muscle can be strong but poorly timed, and it could also be strong and overshadowed by another muscle. So that is why muscle activation is so, so important. And the nervous system is our secret sauce. We're rewiring, retraining our bodies to move in the way it's supposed to move, and move in a way that is good for you and your horse. It's so important, y'all. I can't stress it enough. And one more thing that I want to say about the muscle activation is, it's low load, it's high awareness, it's very slow and very intentional. And it prepares our strength, right? It's not like we're lifting heavy weights. We're really getting into the nitty-gritty of how our body is working and how to turn those muscles on purpose. So yes, that is a little bit about muscle activation. I can't wait to see y'all in class.
Yeah, it's so text, guys. If you want to know how to get in that class, text us right now, 940-291-9090. And we will give you a 7-day free trial pass to that muscle activation class. Carol, when you're coming out of this pen, when you end your run, these are my final closing thoughts for you. Instead of allowing her to habitually duck to the left, because again, it's allowing her to lean, and that's going to trigger the amygdala in her brain to go into fight flight or to stay stuck in fight flight. I need you to keep going straight and stop her straight. Okay. I drew a little green line on here for you as we finish this out. Hold her accountable. Don't let her cut you off at the end of a run. Ask them to close the gate.
Okay.
If you don't have a closed gate and you're worried about running into the back of the wall or into a parking lot, ask someone to close a gate for you and help your mare stop straight. Again, when they contort their posture, it triggers their brain into fight flight. All right, let me show that text number again. What kind of help do you need if you're watching? Are you coachable? Text us. Text I want help. 940-291-9090. We've got a couple of data images before we go to Q&A. Sherry, what are we going to look at today from your lens, through the lens of Stride data, using this device right here called our Stride data device?
I think that's slide 3. If we can go to actually slide 1. There we go. No, one more. That's slide 2. They were backwards. So sorry. So what I love is what we were talking about, the balance and how much even that little bit of a tilt or the compensation pattern that we were talking about with Carol. Well, this is me, and I have a compensation pattern too. But mine's going to be, as you can see, this is with no shim or nothing. Is that this device is mounted on the girth of the horse, and it measures the balance. It's basically the horse and rider, and you'd be amazed at how much we influence our horse's balance. And this is what really drove that point home to me, was the data that supported it. And so first thing we're going to look at is the longitudinal balance. That's front to back. So I like to be if we can be 0 to 1 to the back, just because of the power being in the hind end, we want to be a little bit back, but not too far back. And then on the left, or the bottom, the lateral balance, it's showing that I was riding heavy to the left at 2.7. And this one, we really want to try to get as close to 0 as possible. Now, if you look really close, I'm really teetering on the green to the yellow zone. So that is an area that I knew that needed to be worked on. So we went and put a shim on it, and this is what I viewed as a temporary solution, but it also showed like the effect that it can have on the horse. And so when we put the shim on there, I rode a little bit more back. Again, pretty dang close to that sweet spot, 0 to 1. But look at how much it changed my balance, and I got a lot closer to 0, so 0.5 to the left. And the shim is something that goes on the pad that just helps build up that one side for me to help offset my compensation pattern. And here's where you really see where it's affecting the horse. If we can go to slide 2.
Slide 2. And not just any shim. So these are stall high only shims. They're called Stable Ride. They run the entire length of the bar of your saddle. They're adhesive and they're made out of a special material that is very
that's 3.
Grippy. So it's going to keep your saddle from moving, but it's also very shock absorbent. Go ahead, Sherry.
So here's the good stuff, is that if we look at the average length, and when we were talking about the turns and Carol's balance, it's like, well, you can see the stride shortening. And you can see the power just coming out of the horse with no shim on. And this is just walk, trot, lope. This is not a run. And so this is nothing difficult that's going on with this horse and myself. Is our average length was 4.3 feet with no shim because of my compensation pattern, his stride. And then when we put that shim on and I got more balance, that average length went up almost a foot just from adjusting the balance of me. And how I was, and what I was doing to him. So that's what is really, really fun about this is that, and is you can see their length and the power of the horse just changing just from that slight, and it's not real thick, so it's not like there was a huge change in there. And so the third slide is because I was riding heavy to the right, I thought the shim should be going on the other side. And so full disclosure here, as we were testing this, it didn't really do much because I thought the shim should be on the left. I think I was 2.7 to the left before. By putting it on the left, I went a little bit heavier to the left. But look, his stride even went down more. It went from 4.3 down to 409. And so this is what's really fun to watch is we can measure that. And again, it's a temporary solution. The real solution is to rewire the body, work with somebody, that can help us change our compensation patterns. And so that it's just making the horse's job easier.
Yes. That's good. Thank you for sharing those. So Sherry, I love that you brought that up because you were convinced that you knew in your mind what the results were going to be, but the stride device proved you wrong.
It did.
We can argue with ourselves. We can argue with our horses. We can argue with our husbands, our friends, our trainers. But you can't argue with data slapping you in the face. You can continue to argue and you can continue to ride the hard way if you want to. But when you understand how to take this data combined with new techniques, with a new way to ride, a new way to activate the muscles in your body, the signals that are going from your body to your brain and back again, that's how you're going to get results you've never even imagined before. This is how we exceed what you've dreamed. Sherry, closing thoughts?
Yeah, I think, and Robin asked for clarification, because I was riding heavy to the left, we put the shim on the right, and that seemed really counterintuitive. You're right. And that's why my analytical brain just couldn't let go until, and I was like, Kendra, just humor me. We're going to put it on the other side too. And I was like, holy, you know what? That can't be right. But it was, because, and as you said, is a lot of times, whether we don't see it in ourselves or we see something else is sometimes a lot of times. And I know I was working on the wrong problems. And this just really pointed out to me what the real problem was. And yeah. And then for me, since I rode heavy to the left, my horse is a lefty. I always struggled with my first barrel. Mm-hmm. And then when we started balancing that out, guess what? Got better.
Yes.
My first barrel got a whole lot better.
I think we have a question coming in from Barrel Horse World. If you want to ask really quick, ask it in the chat. Is there any way we can get the classes recorded at the time conflicts with, that's from Vicky. Well, actually, Miss Vicky, now you can. So Sherry, will you make a note for Vicki?
Mhm.
With Bailey as our new muscle activation coach, we have a new opportunity. Let's get a link to Vicki so that she can access replays. We'll get that information to you. Does anybody else have any questions before we end this week's New Leader Live? Okay. Someone says, cool. Yeah, it's very cool.
Shout out to Kathy Pennington. She said, cool class.
Shout out to Kathy Pennington, our Colorado Cowgirl. She's also a WPRA Cowgirl who is graduated from Masterclass, rides in a bullseye saddle. Carol, what'd you think
I
about?
want to thank you guys. Thanks for the information. It's just crazy.
It's
Crazy
crazy.
information.
So we learned a lot in Masterclass, right? This is a great example of the rate that we continue to go. The program continues to evolve, mature, improve. I think sometimes we can falsely believe like, hey, like I've spent 6 months or I've spent a year or I've spent 6 years pursuing this thing, but you're still capable of learning more. So I don't want anyone to do what I used to do, and that is shoot yourself in the boot by plateauing. I want everyone to continue to rethink the way it's always been done. Get on board with us. Stay here at Stall High. Carol, do you feel like this is going to help you get ready for your next run with this mare and start to answer some more questions? How much more confident are you now getting in the saddle and making a run on this mare?
Oh, I would probably say 95%. I mean, if I can make some of those changes working with Bailey and she could show me how to make those changes with my physique that I have, it's crazy. I'm ready to help her. I mean, mostly I want to help her. You know, she's nice and she's fun. So I just would like to, learn more about that. I'm excited.
Well, let's get you connected with Bailey. Let's get you in that muscle activation class 3 days a week. If you need replays, we now have those available. There is a level of membership that you can come in for that. Anyone who wants to know if you want help with your horse, text the hotline so we know how to help you. My strongest advice is to apply for Masterclass. That's where you're going to get your bullseye saddle for free. Why do we give away a saddle for free? Because we want you to take this serious. That is your incentive to get in the class. But it's not really about what you get or only about what you get. It's about who you're going to become. Imagine yourself staying the same. How much money will you spend? How many times will you drive away from the barrel race or the rodeo brokenhearted with bruises on your shin, scratching your head thinking, why isn't anything working? Continue to circle the barrel like they've done for 60 years. Chase your tail, spend that money, write those big checks, or simply learn new answers. Learn to ride in a new way. Improve your style. You don't have to change your style altogether, but who's opposed to an upgrade? Carol, I'm so proud of you for not being bullheaded. You are the epitome of becoming a new leader. It's not just about hearing your name called new leader or only horse in the 1D, but it's learning to ride in such a way that others respect, that others want to watch you, that makes a difference. You're not just saying you care about your horse. You're learning to ride in such a way that your horse feels cared and loved. So great job. Thank you for sending in your pictures, your videos. Thank you for letting us coach you this week. Kelly, great job coaching. Bailey, hats off to you. Welcome aboard Team Stall High. Sherry, wonderful job reporting the data. And again, thank you to Cowtown Coliseum. What an honor to be live here in the Coliseum this week. They have amazing internet connection. They have open rodeos running throughout the year. So guys, if you are ready to get out of that cold weather, put your horse in a trailer, come to Texas. Run right here in this arena. So every Friday, Saturday night, you do not have to have a WPRA card unless it is a special event. Most of the time, go to cowtowncoliseum.com, look at their schedule, and come run here. It is a lot of fun. You're going to season your horse. You're going to hear an amazing crowd right here in Fort Worth, Texas, and you're only going to be about 45 miles north of our ranch. So definitely reach out to us. Again, the hotline at Stall High is 940-291-9090. Thank you, Barrel Horse World, for letting us be here every week. It is New Leader Live. I want to challenge you to rethink the way barrel racing has always been done. Stop trying to add speed. Simply get out of the way. I'll see y'all next week on New Leader Live.